I want to kick off by asking you to give us a sense of this U.S. intelligence that the Russians have been planning a propaganda video to potentially jumpstart an invasion into Ukraine. Have you seen this video?
Well, we haven't seen the video itself, but I can tell you that the United States briefed us shortly before the official announcement by Ned Price that they possess this piece of intelligence. So now we're looking forward for details. But if you ask me, is there anything that Russia couldn't do in order to provoke the war? My answer would be no. You can recall Crimea, when actually the takeover of Crimea was a false flag operation, because Russian troops were ordered to take off their insignia and basically operate under an unidentified flag. So everything is possible, and we should take every risk into account.
The last time we spoke was in December of last year. At that time, you said you don't know if an invasion would happen, but if it did happen, it could happen within the blink of an eye. Is that still your assessment today?
That was the feeling, and this feeling accompanied, I think, all of us throughout January. But actually what we're seeing today is that diplomacy works, that the threat of invasion in December, in early January, in middle January, then late January is postponed. And it means that Ukraine and the West won against Russia in this first round.
You feel like they've already won?
We have won in this round by pushing Russia to keep this military plan on the table, but not actually activating it.
One of the things we also discussed back in December was the thought of economic sanctions. And in the subsequent weeks, we've heard again and again from various Western officials saying that this would be the most aggressive package of sanctions ever on Russia. And some details, but not specifics. You told me at that time that they needed to get specific if they wanted to deter President Putin. Do you believe he's been deterred?
He has been deterred so far, but it doesn't mean that the problem is left behind, and we haven't crossed, the critical point yet. And there are two things which have to be kept on mind. First, the broad narrative: if you do this, you will suffer from the most severe sanctions, doesn't work anymore. Russia has been hearing it for months, and they learned how to live with this message.
Yeah.
So now it's time to actually disclose the sanctions that will be imposed on Russia, so that they can really see that the West is united and the sanctions are prepared.
You want the West to get specific?
Absolutely. It's high time to get specific. And otherwise, Russia will think that this is just not serious. The second point, it would be really effective if the West could impose some sanctions on Russia now.
Like what?
Well, Russia has done so many mean things in the past years, like the passportization of Ukrainian citizens in Donbas. This is a clear violation of Minsk agreements. This is a violation of the territorial integrity and sovereignty of Ukraine. So a set of at least one, economic sanctions could be imposed for that, and that would send a strong message that the will is there. The will to act is there, and Russia should be very cautious in its calculations of further actions.